So it's super hot. So what I've decided to do, since the fort for La Bahia is so large, we're going to drive around it and we'll drive by the Angel of Bahia. But listen, come visit for real, and then we'll go inside. But it's just too hot, and we're kind of in a hurry to get to the coast. They're already asking us to check in. We're an hour and a half or more away from that. Leah's going to stick the camera out, and we'll drive by. I might narrate later. I might play music. I don't know. All right, my love. The unknown soldier.
I think so.
We walked up last time. We went all the way up, but when I looked at the thing, it did say it was 102. So the walking and then I'm doing an Adobe, and that's called Adobe Colonial when they do the sconce around the windows.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing that style, obviously. I'm doing a more traditional Adobe, but so I talked about having round between the two connexes, but that's not a historic thing. Stairs up.
Wow. Okay,
And so then you would walk out, and I would have a fountain, and it would be a traditional covered courtyard with a reciprocal ceiling over it. But then, that would be noisy for television and stuff, so I'd need to be able to turn off the fountain. And I don't know. I when I drew the designs, I'm going to be both. Yeah, this definitely is. Do you think this is the biggest fort we've seen? Or San Jose?
San Jose was pretty good.
It was maybe the bigger complex, but this thing has like doors like this.
Oh, wow.
And it's definitely more forty.
Yes, I agree with that.
And then where Colonel Fannin and his men were killed, they were all shot down in this hollow. And the 300 men were bayoneted and shot right down there.
Ignacio.
And that's probably what that is all about. That
birthplace of Ignacio Zaragoza.
And was he the only one that was allowed to leave the, do you know, the Alamo?
I don't know.
I forget the name of the No, we know it. Was it Manchac? What was Manchac?
Oh, Manchac.
You tell us.
Come and take it.
Yeah, he was the only one allowed to go take a message. Doc Martin should have lasted longer than that. Okay, so here we are at the fort of Goliad, Bahia, and there's the flags. And what is that? 6 flags, 7 flags, Leah? 9. We weren't even close. So we're right at closing time here, and we are told to they'll let us in, but they won't sell tickets for what, a tour? So we'll find out if we'll get through and what we can see. But again, this is not a mission, so the woodwork is much more primitive. Till 5, but they said the last time they let people in is 4:45 or so. Hi.
Hello. How are you doing? The ones like these in the case right here.
So they cast these.
Right, but
Uh-huh.
I'm not 100% sure. There's some of them I have suspicions might be originals, but there's no way to.
They call
And
them
see
nail.
how they would run the nail through, and then they would bang them in to hook them in, and that's how they would strap
They
the
call them nail bosses. I like
nail
that.
bosses, huh? So where in here is the pipes that you? Oh, are they the painted pipes? Oh, the head. Oh yeah. Look at that. That is cool.
Those scissors, those are
Yeah, and everything that is in our collections was dug up within the confines of the Presidio itself, so we don't have any donated items out on display.
No donated items. That is good to know. So everything we see and see here was part of the architectural. And then when I drove in, I thought, now this is interesting that everything here is native to this build site. So something really happened because there's a lot of artifacts. This mission was relocated to San Antonio in 1749. So it was sacked, right? Somebody sacked it. That's a very cool liberty of that. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do the adobe fireplaces in the main chamber when we start doing it. So capturing as many of these as I can. Originally I thought it would just be your semicircular classical adobe, but look how many Texas styles there are of this. And you know, that's just one angle iron andron in the so it would be a small fireplace as opposed to something, again, another one throwing out a lot of heat. You know, a big fireplace. Stand up next to that, Leah, for scale, so I have it. So it's almost like, what, 3 inches by 3 inches, since you're just a little bigger than that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just an itty bitty thing.
it is.
Look at that. Somebody else stuck their fingers up in there and then got all sooty.
I didn't, but I didn't.
Nope.
I didn't touch
You can
it.
see. Okay, don't touch it.
No, look, see?
Okay. I thought you were gonna wipe that on me and go, ha!
Oh,
No tag back. Oh, you just did.
Yeah, I know. I
All right,
did.
good. Come and take it.
I did it.
Oh, look at the heart lock. Look at the heart lock.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah, see. That is very cool.
So see, they did make the handmade.
They did. How you mixed hearts with cannonballs. Everything was always a mixture in this world, wasn't it? So I would definitely need to break out a book on Texas history, and I've read a lot of them, to begin to understand what happened in the 1830s to get rid of all of these missions, and then why in 1930 did they start saving them, you know, other than
So
FDR.
in 1833, Santa Anna elected president of Mexico, cholera epidemic. Santa Anna switches to Centralist Party, and then Federal Constitution of 1824 was revoked. So I wonder.
So it was the Mexican invasion of Texas that undid all of these missions, and then they're just never repopulated
No.
fully. Probably everybody got out of Dodge, right? And once
So,
you're gone, would you come back? Would you come back to this hot
No.
place? No. If
If
you
you
found
want-
any place with water and
You would
coolness,
not, yeah.
you would not come back. I don't know why I live here myself.
Well, it never used to be this town.
Well, I don't know. The early conquistadors wrote about the Great American Desert, and that they meant Texas. So something. And remember when we saw the old pictures from from the Garden of the Gods? There wasn't a tree to be found. It was a lot hotter back
Yeah, I
then.
agree.
And we just circulate. Oh, I remember. This is the officer's mess. Remember that? They really did like their real simple candelabras.
See, this is really nice. Am I supposed
How
to
would you
touch
heat such a thing though in your house? Because
Well, it would have to be an outdoor.
it would be an outdoor thing.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm not sure you would, as a bachelor, there is no way I could generate this is cool, but there'd be no way I could justify all
So
that.
in 1835, colonists and Gonzales fired on Mexican troops. They had come to reclaim a small cannon. Going to the colonists.
Oh, so they actually fired on them. See, I didn't know that.
One group led
And
by
listen, they
Stephen
call it a
Fox.
small cannon, and you and I looked at it, and that cannon was half again as high as me, and they keep saying the word small cannon.
It was.
You and I have seen the
Yeah.
repop, and was it a 12-pounder?
It was pretty big.
It was a 12-pounder,
Yeah.
and that's, you would not arbitrarily take that away from somebody.
Yeah.
And by fired on, they means they could hit the guys a mile away and cut them in half. So the come and take it guys weren't just inconsequential. They had the meat to back up their. Oh, look, here's his fluted pipe.
So the Mexican Civil War was opposing sides were Federalists who supported statehood and guaranteed the discard of the 1824 Constitution. The Centralists who favored strong central government control for Mexico City. So they were battling back and forth.
So these repops, though, Leah, they have planked ceilings. I bet you these ceilings would have been coyote fenced, just like we've seen in existent missions. Because how would you plane a board?
Yeah.
You wouldn't. Oh, and this is the massacre of Colonel Fannin down in that hollow. See if you can see if the angel's in there anywhere. She would be up here somewhere pleading, right? They probably moved her off. The Santa Ana would have had her removed from the
Wow,
the
they
side.
cut the head off of that horse. Literally.
Oh, there's her story. I'm going to go ahead and video this for people to read. Oh, she hit as many of them as she could. Oh, she lived at King Ranch. I didn't know that. Oh, what a story. Senora Alvarez, the Angel of Goliad. Now I know her name. Decline of Goliad. Well, I keep asking that. By 1850s, the town's been reestablished near San Antonio, near the river. So it was all in ruins because it was too far away from anything.
Yeah.
And I read that cowboy. Oh, these are just restrooms.
Look, there's another one.
I read that. Oh, another one.
You can sit in front of.
How cute.
Yeah.
So I did read a story of a cowboy who stayed in the ruins of Goliad in the late 1800s, and the only thing above him was the stones from the Spanish missions. And so that diary, I think it's here, but it's really cool. Oh, I can't open
got
that,
it.
it's too heavy. Thank you, sweetness.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's too hot to walk on that.
It is, and we've walked it before, but remember we've done the blacksmithy over there, and look, they've got a cannon now. They've added some things, and then when we went to the wall up there, there was a cannon up there once upon a time, way over yonder. So this is again another really great point, but certainly the chapel here is one of the prettiest chapels I've seen. And we have pictures of you here. These are your favorite and my favorite set of pictures.
Up there.
Yeah. I'm going to go up here and look out over the cannonade, and then I'll go in the chapel. Oh, I don't know whose gravestone that is. That could be Colonel Fannin's. We'll walk over and respectfully look at that.
There's another cannon.
Oh, they've got a cannon up here. Did they have a cannon last time? Sure they would have, right? You would not be moving these things around. And so right down there, Leah, is where I understand where the massacre was. In that hollow. Right down there, you're looking at that. You know, which could have been more of a hollow back in the day.
Yeah.
This parking lot was infilled, right? And I think that's what that amphitheater is about, but not entirely sure. I like these little soldier rooms. If I could, I'd like to rebuild it. We always stand in it, and I don't know, makes you feel like a kid again in a weird way. The gravestone? My bet is on Colonel Fannin. I've never seen anybody.
And
Oh, really? It's a woman's name?
what is it? Ann?
Born, died 1942. Or, oh no, I'm sorry, 1852.
Annie?
And Neil T.A. Tavalone? Wow. Look, she has the little coins and a prayer candle.
I got some coins.
What's the tradition with the coin?
A-N-N-I, okay, Annie L-T-A-Y-L-O-R. Annie Taylor. Born July 25th, 1852. Oh no, Annie L. Taylor.
Annie L. Taylor.
Burned my butt.
It is super hot. It is super hot. I'll let you pull that door open.
Yeah, I'm
'cause I
gonna
won't.
Google it after.
Push.
Oh, push. You didn't see me do that.
I didn't see you. I wouldn't have done any better. Kind of like this salmon, but salmon doesn't always look good, you know, in a house. I really would prefer a more burnt umber than I would the salmon. Since here they've got a little bit of the, you know, it fell away, the stucco. It's mighty thick. This is, yeah, Our Lady of Laredo Chapel. This was the chapel, the original door, if I remember right, from the last time we were here. Yeah, and they rebuilt it. Architect Stripling. Just amazing. They raised these things. In 1963 is when they repaired this and put it back to its splendor. What a great restoration, you know? And how hard it would have been way out here in Goliad with nothing. I'm sorry. Yeah, but you know, those people never make much money or get much credit. It's truly a labor of love, right? And then the treasure that they leave behind, we're able to celebrate in and repurpose this again as a place of worship because it was a fallen. Right? That cowboy stayed here when I read it, and all this was stones. And so, but he did marvel. He said at the Spanish stonemasons. That's a line out of his diary. But nobody passed through this way because everybody was taking the San Antonio River via river barge, so you wouldn't come visit. But now the highways have sort of kind of connected it. But you got to admit, all of these cities are backwoodsy, right? Oh, backwoodsy. Now this is a different chapel. So why does this have two chapels, Leah? And they still are allowing candles here. That's the call of faithful or prayer.
I don't know.
There's no fresco left in here or anything, but you know that there was originally.
Oh, yeah.
That wall wasn't a picture hanging. In fact, it might have been that.
And then they just
And
stopped there.
redone that.
Well, funny you
full
say
size.
that because look.
Oh,
It
so-
is on the wall there. That was the San
Uh-huh.
Juan. This was actually, well, you can't see it. It was
Yeah.
actually painted on there.
Wow, it was painted on there, so there you go. They repopped it.
Yeah.
A little bit of the hardware, but it's very hard in the lighting. You know, these
you want me to
churches
get
are
it?
so. No, I got. Wow, this Texas sun.
Oh, Annie L. Taylor. I wanted to see who.
Annie L. Taylor, yeah, from the 1800s, right?
I have to do it.
1852. Yeah, from the car you can't see anything. So in Goliad, this is the fort where Colonel Fannin and his men met their end with at Santa Anna's hand. And there's a lot of good history here. So, and as you can see, the chapel was still here. Most of the fort's been rebuilt in 1963. And then the architectural finds here are just top notch. And again, a whole different kind of a museum compared to the other parks. This is more of an architectural museum. So if you want reproductions of things that once were, and then even these things were cast right from the reproduction, which is just too cool. So I enjoyed this one very much. This one's a lot smaller than San Juan, but it does give you a feeling right there. Oh, and there's the bloody arm banner.
During the excavations, they found approximately 13 graves, and she was one of them. She was married to Will Taylor, and she had died of tuberculosis. So it was one of the most intact
Graves. So they just let you know real people lived here and suffered real tragedy. Annie L. Taylor. I don't know. Tuberculosis is a tough way to die.
These are so pretty.
They are. You know, I could do a regular plank door and just decorate it with in a similar way, and pass through and hammer over some nails.
That would make a statement for sure.
It really would. It really would.
Yes, that is amazing.
Well, you know, some of the doors that we bought that were salvage doors, you can't pass up a $25 door.
No.
Ultimately, they'll wear out, and I'd like to replace
So
them
when
with
you look,
something.
if you Google it and you decide you do want to make it, they're nail bosses.
Yeah, nail bosses.
So maybe
the technology.
I just think that
It is
that's
so cool.
So cool. Plugged and blown up on Colonel Fannin's orders upon departure from the Presidio La Bahia. Okay.
Yeah, you want to leave a gun for Santa Ana to pick up and shoot back at you.
You can still see the plug in the end of the barrel.
You can.
Oh my
So
gosh.
they said you could touch it. It's officially untouchable. Colonel Fannin would have touched that, and you just touched it.
Yeah. Did you touch it?
I did. I'd already touched it. And so the come and take it cannon was bigger than that cannon. It was a 10-pounder or 12-pounder. So they need to stop saying small cannon. It wasn't a small cannon. We saw relative to a human. It's half the size of a Volkswagen, right? That relative to a human being. I mean, I'm sure there's huge cannons. But when they say small cannon, I was thinking like a swivel cannon or something inconsequential. Well, of course Santa Ana wouldn't send a whole division to go get a swivel cannon, right? He's sent to get a sizable piece of artillery. So I'm glad that we got that experience, because in my whole life I've never, ever had that trutheism presented to me of the actual replica of the cannon. And then I went, well, wait a minute, everything Hollywood taught me was incorrect. What does that do now?
So that's number 16. It's a trace chain?
No, that's a plow.
Oh, it's 18?
Yeah, and these are the trade chain.
Oh, sure.
And the reason why they had chains is if you ever read Little House on the Prairie, Pa only used chains on his wagons because people would touch your horses out and leave you to die. And so
Chains they
only
couldn't
chains they couldn't. So you get up in the morning and you'd still have your animals.